Why does the woman have to move across the country because the man is being toxic? Why can't the man be taught, don't be toxic?
So women can't be toxic too? That makes what?
Jakyle Korean.
When you're young, you're not thinking, and everybody has made a bad choice. And because you're stressed out, you go change your gender. Because you want to try something new, once you do it, you can't go back. The more you throw stuff at kids before they develop, that's indoctrination.
That's facts. Hey, bro, really think about that too, though. Like, I'm all for like the whole like, you know, you doing what you want to do when you 18, but when you like a baby, bro, I mean, come on, be real, man. Like, you really like can't make those type of choices. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And really, bro, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna keep it real. People that do that, I feel like, to little kids, bro, they're kind of trying to make them to what they want them to be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro. It's just a whole nother thing. I don't want to get into that, though.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. Cancel culture is a good thing.
Ooh.
We have the freedom to say what you want, but everyone else has the freedom to respond and cancel you if you say something that is racist, homophobic, transphobic, etc. Cancel culture is definitely a good means of like deplatforming people who are spreading very hateful messages.
What is your opinion on Trump being canceled on Twitter?
When you go onto Twitter, whatever, you check I accept the, you know, guidelines, the community guidelines, I agree to follow them, and he didn't follow them, so Twitter has the right to take him off the app.
And for people that might make the counter-argument that Twitter is biased and will only cancel right-wing politicians, that's not true at all. Twitter and other forms of social media have canceled left-wing activists. There is an equal balance on both sides.
You brought up canceling him on Twitter. I'm sorry, I disagree. When the Taliban can use our social media, but an ex-president can't, there's something wrong with that.
That is true. That is true.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, I think it matters to Twitter what their community guidelines are. That's why they banned Trump, because Trump violated community guidelines. That's what every platform has, whether it be TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
The Taliban stones people because they're gay.
If they've done that and they've posted videos of stoning gay people, I agree, they should be removed, and that 100%. Is fundamentally wrong. So
Except
it's not.
The problem
but
is
wait,
they're smart enough to not do that.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, then why wasn't Trump smart enough to
the president
not do
wasn't
that?
smart enough to not do that, I guess.
If I'm an American and I have to vote between this person, I need equal access to both of them to decide what's right. Bro, you could be a Klansman, you could say you hate black people. That's not my job to police your language. I can't expect everybody to love me and think the way I think. All y'all think different of me, that's totally dope. But the fact that you want somebody removed because they think differently, that could be you one day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Is something
that's real shit.
Still exists in America?
We do have aspects of freedom of speech. Like, you can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. So obviously there are limits of freedom of speech.
But they're picking and choosing who they're silencing and who they're letting talk.
If people react negatively to what you say, it goes both ways. You can't just say that, oh, they
100%.
can't. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
America is becoming less and less safe.
Yeah, I would say too, especially like I would say that too, especially when it comes down to like, you know, all the immigrants coming in, especially like the illegal ones. Like, I respect you if you come in legally, bro. Like, if you come in the border, you know, you do your paperwork and stuff like that. Like, I do respect you if you really like put in the time and effort to do that. But if you come in illegally, bro, like, no one knows who you are, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could be killer, and that's why like there's so much like crime happening nowadays. I'm not saying it's just because of them. It could be like everybody, because we talking about like people in LA. Yeah, bro, they're going crazy up in there. That could also be a contributor to that aspect as well. So
I have a lot of friends that have been in the military for the last 20 years because they refused to get vaccinated. They told me that they would be dishonorably discharged or kicked out of the military.
That's crazy.
We're losing a lot of good servicemen with the current situation that we're in right now.
A lot of police officers are down. Crime is up all over. When police aren't there, we're murdering each other at a really high rate. Police are in those neighborhoods because the homicide rate is high. Y'all can run around talking about police all you want, but I challenge any of these liberal kids to spend 2 weeks in the environment I grew up in, and I promise your perspective will change.
The one advantage we have about being older, we've been through a threat or two. And our enemies, you know, like China, the Communist Party in China, they're laughing at us. You know, Russia's like, we don't need to do much. They're gonna screw it up on their own. We need to get the help of our younger people that haven't been through a threat before to realize a lot of what's going on is not good.
Can the disagreeer step forward?
Oh man, what are you finna say?
I actually wished I came up here for the agreeing section because I think I interpreted the definition of safety the same way that you guys did, but after hearing your guys' conversation, I started thinking about how our American people aren't safe in the face of like imminent like climate disasters that are coming our way, and how we don't have the infrastructure to deal with that.
I actually very much agree with that, because I think we need to define like kind of like what we mean by like we're less safe now. Do we mean like there's more homicides after COVID, or like what do we mean?
I would say before we got rid of half our military, half our police force, you know, slavery was legal, the Holocaust was legal, so we can look at all of these mass atrocities and say we're doing what's right. Everybody who was a part of the Holocaust government, they were doing what Hitler said. They were doing what was right. So everybody losing their job for not getting vaxxed, and all the vax people, you got who can we control? Everybody who get the shot, that's who's gonna do what we say. The enemies are coming, and we don't care about that because we wanna care about what color we should wear and pride, critical race theory. It's like no one else cares about that but us in America. That's our problem.
So you think that talking about sexual orientation and all that kind of stuff takes away from the safety of our country?
Who you sleep with has no merit in the real world. What does it matter?
Okay, let's just broaden the scope. With the coronavirus pandemic, why did it take weeks for us as a country to mobilize together to fight the public health crisis that was already affecting the nation?
It was a scam to get Donald Trump out of office.
Yeah,
It's all fake.
yeah, it was, yeah.
It's my opinion.
It was true, yeah,
That we could create, or the Democrats could create some international plan, getting all of these scientific communities outside of just the U.S. and even international governments on their side for something that they're just trying to get Trump out of office.
You'd be
Trump
surprised.
was the thorn and nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
They had to find a way to get him out of there. If there's no mail-in voting, 100% Trump is the president right now, 100%.
Yeah, because overwhelmingly mail-in ballots were to Biden. That's obvious. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's not because mail-in ballots are fraudulent, because mail-in ballots are actually not fraudulent at all. That this election was the safest election in recorded history.
There's a lot of videos.
80 million
you see
votes.
people with fake
That's a
ballots.
lot of votes. That's all I gotta say. 80 million votes. That's like, I don't know, man. You gotta look at the statistics of like how many actual legal adults are like in this country. That's probably a lot. I'm probably just talking out of my. But anyway, but nah, man. 80 million votes. Jesus Christ. I mean, the fact that he got that many votes, and if you compare it to like the previous, Trump didn't even get 80 million votes. You know what I'm saying? And he was still president. He still got, elected. But the fact that this is his, no, this is not his first presidency. It's like first running. I think it's like second or third. I don't know. But like he ran before. You feel me? Like 80 million though? That's crazy. Imagine not winning and then you get 80 million votes. Like that's just insane.
A conservative, I kind of just went off a lot of the indoctrination and propaganda that was spread to me when I was a kid. I grew up on the fact that, oh, we shouldn't have increased taxes because taxes are just negatively affecting us. Personal responsibility isn't what a lot of decisions people make in society is based on. It's mainly based upon their environment.
Wait, I'm sorry for pausing, but they are though. I mean, if you think about it, like us getting taxed, especially when we're the people that are running this country, like if we're talking about like just like regular people that are working, like we're the people that are running this country, and the fact that we're getting taxed this hard for our hard work is crazy, bro. Like you got to really think about that, man.
My news source is more reliable than the other side's.
Oh snap.
When I look at conservative news, I see a lot of conspiracies that I don't necessarily agree with, and so
that's fine.
If everything
that's
comes
cool.
from opinion and just people developing their own ideas, it just doesn't seem reliable to me.
I feel like the only way we can get unbiased news is in order for news media organizations to stop prioritizing having really vivid headlines that might not necessarily be 100% accurate.
I think that starts
Okay.
with putting people over profit. They want the biggest story or whatever, and they don't want to actually give the news that would be beneficial to our everyday average Americans. And I think that if we put a lot more focus on putting people first instead of the big news or the big story, we can change that aspect of society.
I agree with you 100%. Like I say the civil rights movement is the civil rights entertainment industry because it's so profitable. Put a police shooting on TV, it's breaking news, every headline, it's on every social media, you're selling shirts, you're selling signs. That's so much more profitable than showing me and you shaking hands. The news media is literally capitalizing off the emotions of society. No matter how you feel about it, handle it in your privacy of your house. Why? Because if you can do it on camera, somebody's gonna make $1 off of it, and that's not fair to you.
That's
Young
true.
people today are too sensitive.
Yes. Yeah, they are. They are too sensitive, bro. Way too sensitive, dog. I
I
mean,
think it's a good thing that young people are sensitive.
Yeah.
I think today they can be more sensitive than what they probably could have been 30 or 40 years ago. You know, the growing up was the Berlin crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, we had the threat of annihilation, you know, staring at us several times. And a lot of times I go, you know, thank God John Kennedy handled it.
The country has been spoiled for so long. They're trying to make it so a man can't be a man.
facts,
And
facts,
If you don't let men be men, then
facts.
things start crumbling. Society crumbles,
Yep.
families crumble, broken homes start happening.
And kids need their fathers. So
Yeah,
36%
man,
of
definitely.
Kids don't have a father. So every boy is, well, my mom is mad at me, my dad don't love me, my dad don't care about me. Maybe I should be gay, maybe I should be trans, I don't know who I am. And
That's
your
true.
father puts confidence in you. No disrespect to anybody, but the younger generation of men are soft. And if we
Yeah,
had to go
it
to
is,
war,
yeah.
they're not protecting America. There's no better place to be as a black individual or whatever you are in America. Go to the Middle East right now and say you gay or you trans. And see how
Man,
they
they
treat
will
you.
destroy you. They will destroy you.
Johnny?
Hey, I
You
agree
want
with
to
her
just
on
take a
that
step
though.
forward?
I do agree with her on that. Like, people need to start listening to people more,
This
even if they
idea
are,
that because
you know, different.
men are being raised by women that they're weaker is, in my opinion, completely false. Our
Okay.
generation, it's not more sensitive, we're more aware of all these things being.
Let's compare a woman taking care of a little boy to a man taking care of a little boy. Let's compare that. Let's just compare the two, because a man can't teach a girl how to be a girl and a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. I'm just being real. Like, that's real stuff. Like, you can't sit here and tell me that that is not real, bro. Like, come on, that's just common sense right there.
Being transgender and gay is not something that should be ashamed of or make you feel less.
Nobody's
in
not
today's
saying
society.
that.
That is why women are fighting for
Nobody's not
equality,
saying
because
that.
This idea that because they only have a mom, they're weaker, or because they're more sensitive. That's, in my opinion, completely false.
And I would say in the environment that I grew up in, the teen pregnancies come from girls without fathers.
True.
The homicides come from people without fathers. Every girl that I know, if they grow up with a daddy, they get married before they have a kid.
Why do they
True.
not have fathers?
If you want me to be real, because a lot of women make bad choices on the men they procreate with. If you make a bad choice, that's your responsibility. Every bad thing that I did in my life, it was when my daddy was in jail. When my dad was out and I had my dad's reassurance, I was a better person.
I had one daughter that had to move across the country to get rid of a toxic relationship with somebody that was harming them.
Why does the woman have to move across the country because the man is being toxic? Why can't the man be taught, don't be toxic?
So women can't be toxic too? That makes what? So women can't be toxic? That's crazy.
I have a boyfriend.
Women nowadays have to deal with those kinds of relationships. The mother knows better, I would say, than the father about that.
We're not more sensitive,
No.
there's just more opportunities for us to be sensitive. You can say like 15, 20 years ago, there weren't videos of black men being shot by police all over the internet. Now that that's there, people are more inclined to feel a certain way or take a stance on that topic.
Do you think it would be more beneficial to show police also interacting with white guys? Because more white guys get killed than black guys by cops.
If you look at the amount of white people and the amount of black people, there are going to be more white people killed because there are more white people in America. The percentage of black people that are being killed is higher than the percentage of white people.
Well, just because you're pulled over doesn't mean you have to resist. I mean, they don't just kill you when they pull you over. It's all about based on how you perform as an individual.
That's
I've
true.
been pulled over and never had a bad interaction.
That's
in my
true.
life. When I was rude, I got snatched out the car. Everything is a personal choice. If you can't take accountability for your life, then you will forever.
Yeah,
be
bro,
a slave.
respect people, man.
That's not true. There are definitely issues on the side of policing. Black communities, majority black communities, majority
I don't know, man.
POC communities are
It's kind of
overpoliced.
like,
There's larger patrols in black communities. There are police work longer hours in
yeah, because black
majority
people,
communities.
I'm
So
gonna
there's
stop
issues on the
pausing.
policing side
I'm
as well.
sorry. It's because
Politics
black people
has
don't like to
damaged my
listen.
relationship with a loved one.
They think that cops are trying to come out and kill them for no reason.
I'm sure you could relate to this as well, but in the Asian community, there's a lot of anti-blackness. So with the advent of the Black Lives Matter movement this past year, having conversations with my parents was really difficult, especially around the nuances of racial justice and sort of like what the movement was fighting for and how to articulate that in like the very closed mindset that my parents had.
A lot of my family voted for Trump in the past election, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't like to say this, but it made me view their morals a little bit differently, and they're willing to adapt and change was so different, and I was just like shocked because I wanted to understand their side and really talk about it, and I was met with, you're wrong, and we don't want to talk about it, and that kind of really damaged just kind of the way I looked at them.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I also think that
I do
it
agree
just
with that
made
aspect.
me
That's kind of messed up.
less willing to expend the energy to have political or like just like any like hard conversations with my parents or anyone else in my family.
You know, I read a lot of the tragic stories where family members don't talk to each other anymore. Personally, I think that's sad. Do
Yeah.
all my family members vote the same? No.
Of course not.
Do we have a pretty good idea of how family members may have voted? Yeah. But we went more of agree to disagree. I'm not going to not
Yeah.
buy you a present for Christmas because, you know, you decided to vote for somebody that I don't like.
Yeah, of course. That's just, come on, man. That's just,
Families are special.
yeah.
And we've got too many people, as you've talked about, that don't have them.
When I took this prompt, I kind of took it more of like my view of the person changed differently because, not because of the way they voted, but because some of their values to me were, like he said, moral values, and that shows kind of part of their characters.
Would you say that morality is subjective to each individual person, though? Or would you say morals are the same across the board?
The basic is human equality for all. And so if you don't believe that somebody should have an equality based on their gender, their sexual orientation, or their race, or anything like that, that's a moral problem in my eyes.
'Cause that's a huge thing with the trans and the gay and the LGBTQ and all that whole thing. So I grew up LDS, being in Utah County, it's like 95% Mormon. At 8 years old is when you
yeah.
get baptized. And so if you're raised around where 95% of people think the exact same way, I feel like that's too young of an age where you're a child and you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
so
Yep.
Where I have a problem with, you know, the trans or these different things is they're getting kids at like 10, 12 years old and they're pushing them down that path.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
Who's they?
The parents.
Who's indoctrinating these kids into becoming LGBTQ?
The parents.
etc.
The
There's a lot of
parents.
groups out
There's a
there.
lot of groups.
I've just heard that there's groups out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. You don't think
There's
groups out there that
there's
do
a
that?
lot of groups that actually
I'm
go out and do
senior
that.
straight man, so I think it's weird for you to comment on the queer experience and what that's like for someone growing up who's struggling with those experiences. The way you're describing it as indoctrination, people who are figuring out their sexualities and their queer identities aren't necessarily going to ascribe to the first labels that are put before them.
If I'm not mistaken, the brain isn't fully developed until you're 25 years old, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
I know how I used to think at 16. Man, I know how I used to think at 21. Man, I'm not against kids doing whatever they want. It's just the older you get, you change. I got my first tattoo at 15. I'm covered now. If I was a little older, I probably would have waited. When you're young, you're not thinking. And everybody has made a bad choice. And because you stressed out, you go change your gender. Because you want to try something new, once you do it, you can't go back. The more you throw stuff at kids before they developed, that's indoctrination because you're trying to get them while they're not fully cognitive to know what's going on.
The older you
Perfect.
get, the more conservative you become.
The older you get, the more conservative you
When I
become.
got older and I had kids and I had a family, I actually started reading policies. Everything about me changed when I became a father because I had a reason to. And I'm sure you would agree with that.
You know, that's actually
As I've
kind of
gotten
true
older,
though.
and
I
the
ain't gonna
environment
lie.
we're in right now,
That's actually
I feel
pretty
like
true
they're
though.
trying to cancel the Constitution. They're trying to cancel Christianity.
I mean, most teenagers are liberal. I was liberal when I was teen. It's fun. Culture is liberal. So and when you're younger, you're going to be a part of culture.
Right.
When you're older, you're trying to raise your family. You don't have a time to care about what LeBron James said or who did that. Just when you mature, you value what's around you.
Especially when it comes down to just like basic life, bro. You're not gonna worry about you ain't gonna worry about what in the world Kevin Gates doing. Like, you ain't gonna be worried about what nobody else got going on. Like, if you got a family, bro, your family comes first, man. Like, that's real stuff right there.
Building off of what you're saying about like teenagers, we're a different generation, and so we view the world differently. And I think that's probably why you've seen more teenagers be liberal, because we just view the world that way. But I don't think it has anything to do with.
No, my generation, I was liberal too when I was a teenager, and all my friends were too. And when you're a teenager, life is fun. It's just totally, you kick it, you party. So that's what I'm saying. I get.
It's all
teenage.
one
As you
dimensional.
grow, you either can
One
run
dimensional.
away from responsibility
Dimensional.
or
I don't want to
embrace
say that word.
responsibility. When there's real things
know
going
what I'm
on,
trying
you
to say.
start looking at life a little different. Versus when I was young, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about corporate gains tax, and I didn't know about my stock account, and I didn't know that I can, all these things that I didn't know when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
When people are generally talking about taxing the rich more, they're talking about the top 400 billionaires that are literally paying a lower effective tax rate in taxes than
No,
the
they're
middle class.
not.
The top
They're
400
not.
billionaires paying an effective tax rate of 8%. That's obviously not a fair share. And I think obviously everyone can agree here that they should be paying at least a fair share, right?
How do you increase taxes on someone's assets?
Yeah.
Most of those billionaires aren't.
Unrealized capital
Yeah.
gains, how they're specifically trying to do it now, but it would be through long-term capital gains, because a lot of the people who are paying those taxes, they're paying capital gains tax rate. There's also tax loopholes that have been lobbied into Congress by big corporations and big businesses lobbying politicians to get whatever they want.
So if you get older and you work yourself off and you become a multimillionaire, you deserve to pay more because other people didn't work as hard as you?
But it's not because other people didn't work as hard as me. It's because we, as a society, want to give everyone access to things like basic necessities like healthcare, education, have everyone have an equal opportunity.
But once you know that once you tax them, right, you're gonna get taxed too. You know that, right? Like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna get hit way harder than what they're getting hit, because people who are billionaires, bro, they pay more taxes than any normal any normal human, bro. Any normal person, bro, they pay way more taxes than anybody else, bro. So this whole thing about loopholes and stuff, if you're not a millionaire, how you gonna sit here and dictate any of that? You're normal, bro. Like, why are you even worried about those people? Let them live their life, man.
We don't have that right now.
You can have equal opportunity of a baseline, but the outcome would still be different because every individual is going to work different levels,
Well,
correct?
obviously, yeah.
Right, so I think that's where we are as a society. I was able to pull it off. I graduated high school with a 1.9 GPA. I don't have a college degree. So the only limits are the limits you place on yourself. That's just my
Facts.
perspective.
Facts.
America is the best country in the world.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Right?
I think despite all of our challenges and problems, when you look at all the other countries of the world,
Yeah.
everybody is still trying to come here.
The way I can
true.
talk out loud, the way I can feel myself, the way I can express myself fully as an individual. It ain't many places black men can go do that outside of
That's
America.
facts.
3 years ago, when I got into the court systems and the different rights taken away from me and government control and government power. And so when you have that stuff stripped away from you and you realize most other countries don't have the freedom that America has. America has been the greatest country ever, and I think it will continue because of a lot of good people that stand up for the right things.
I think I would like to ask the question, what is America the best at?
I think we was talking about the freedoms that we have here versus what they don't have in other
In other countries,
What
yeah.
about places in Scandinavia that actually have higher amounts of freedom? They have better democracies than we do here, higher quality of life, higher median income. They have healthcare systems that are more efficient.
Well, you
that
go
help
there
everyone in
then.
Their population, more access to education.
I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not trying to attack them or nothing, but everyone wants to come here though, man.
Trying to get into Scandinavia
Yeah.
because we have more opportunity than any other place in the world.
We don't even make the top 25 in women equality.
But we have a better opportunity to do something about it
Yeah.
compared to other countries. And I would love it for Europe to open their borders the way we have and see if you can get people from other parts of the world to do mass migration. to Europe.
Migrations.
I was
Yeah.
going to mention Scandinavian countries as well, but I think it's also important to address that Scandinavian countries are very homogenous, racially, socioeconomically. They don't face the same geographic diversity that we have. What you were mentioning with the fact that we have the opportunity
what was that noise?
to right
I'm moving that mic.
inequality, why is that not happening? It's because the way our democracy is set up, our Congress is literally in a gridlock right now, as it has been for so many past sessions of Congress. We aren't getting anything productive done.
The opportunity we have here is incredible, and I'm very happy that I live here and not somewhere else, but we are so focused on, oh, America is the best, that we don't look at these other countries and say, why are all those people so happy, and what is that, and how can we incorporate that into our society?
I mean, I'll say,
Why are
I
you
think
even
diversity is
worried
really
about them though?
diversity
Like, I
of
don't
thought,
get
diversity of
that.
opinion, it's super helpful. It's really easy to get clogged up into this groupthink. So I don't expect anyone else to agree with me or feel the way I feel.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
expect you to respect my right to feel this way. I respect your right to feel this way.
Yeah, all
Keep it
respect,
moving.
man.
100% agree. I couldn't
Facts.
agree more, actually.
Awesome, that's a wrap. Thank you so much.
Hey man, that was a really good video, man. I'm not even gonna lie, especially when it comes down to like people in this country, man. We really just all gotta just come together and stop, you know, beating each other in the head. But we also have to think logically. You know what I'm saying? Think logically. Stop using your emotions to dictate real world choices. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really think about that. It's just, that was a really good video, man.